Our devotional for March 22, a reflection on my utmost for his highest. You can find the link to the daily devotionals at utmost.org. This is written by Oswald Chambers. The text for today is Luke 24, verse 32. I'll read verses 30, 31, and 32 for context. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" This devotional is titled "The Burning Heart." Did not our hearts burn within us? Luke 24, verse 32. We need to learn the secret of the burning heart. Suddenly Jesus appears to us, fires are set ablaze, and we are given wonderful visions. But then we must learn to maintain the secret of the burning heart, a heart that can grow through anything. It is the simple, dreary day with its commonplace duties and people that smothers the burning heart unless we have learned the secret of abiding in Jesus. Much of the distress we experience as Christians comes not as a result of sin, but because we are ignorant of the laws of our own nature. For instance, the only test we should use to determine whether or not to allow a particular emotion to run its course in our lives is to examine what the final outcome of that emotion will be. Think it through to its logical conclusion, and if the outcome is something that God would condemn, put a stop to it immediately. But if it is an emotion that has been kindled by the Spirit of God, and you don't allow it to have its way in your life, it will cause a reaction on a lower level than God intended. That is the way unrealistic and overly emotional people are made. And the higher the emotion, the deeper the level of corruption if it is not exercised on its intended level. If the Spirit of God has stirred you, make as many of your decisions as possible irrevocable, and let the consequences be what they will. We cannot stay forever on the Mount of Transfiguration, basking in the light of our mountaintop experience. See Mark 9, 1 through 9. But we must obey the light we received there. We must put it into action. When God gives us a vision, we must transact business with him at that point, no matter what the cost. We cannot kindle when we will the fire which in the heart resides. The Spirit bloweth and is still. In mystery our soul abides. But tasks and hours of insight willed can be through hours of gloom fulfilled. Thinking through this idea of the burning heart and abiding in Jesus, and think of how many times today already that you have reacted in a certain way because of your emotions. I couldn't count how many already. And this devotional suggests that we should allow ourselves to experience that, but also to apply some reflection upon that. What is the end result of this emotion? What is the end result of this response? Is it of God or not of God? And if we determine quickly that it is not of God, then we should abandon it. Then we should surrender it and abide in Christ. If it is of God, then of course we should act upon it, and as the devotional says, to make our decision irrevocable. And this can be a challenge with our emotions, especially if we've experienced trauma, if we've experienced loss, if we've experienced hurt, which all of us have had some combination of that. But this is again why we should spend time meditating, reflecting upon the Word, meditating for ourselves, so that we can work through some of the things that we have experienced and become better able to manage those emotions. What we would want to be able to accomplish is ultimately to have our hearts burn with desire and our hearts ablaze with the knowledge that we are abiding in Christ, no matter what the circumstances. I'm going to be challenged in the next period of time where many of my tasks will feel mundane, but that doesn't mean that I should or have to or will abide in Christ any less. In fact, through proper prayer and spending time in the Word and reflection, and surrendering my own desires to that of God, then it's actually a possibility that my heart will burn ablaze even more with the knowledge of the presence of Jesus Christ.